You know, there's nothing better than playing a video game on a Saturday. I mean, I can just enter a whole different world and forget about work. But I did say I'd do a review this week. But on what game? I did watch Toy Story last night. Toy Story 2! I mean, it's such an awesome game! That's it, I'm playing Toy Story 2. That's the review this week. Guys, I'm no scientist, but that's not the game I put in the actual disk drive. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. You think this is funny game? I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that's not the game I actually put in the disk drive. Okay, one more time. I have to review Buzz Lightyear Star Command, don't I? I mean, I'm no home ec teacher, but... ah, forget it. Buzz Lightyear Star Command, a game that is part of a pedigree of games and movies that has possibly shaped the lives of most of the people watching this right now. We all remember Toy Story, and maybe we all remember the great Toy Story games, which means we all know who Buzz Lightyear is. Hero of the galaxy, savior of aliens, and yeah, he was a toy, but for anybody watching TV from 2000 to 2001, you would see Buzz as more than just a toy. In the cartoon, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Buzz became more than just a toy. Buzz Lightyear was the guy, he was the man, he was the legend, and he was also the leader of Team Lightyear, which consisted of XR, Mira, and Booster, and they all became my heroes. And why wouldn't they be? He stopped bad guys on a weekly basis, and these bad guys were not chumps. I love this show, but just because Toy Story was good and the show was good, doesn't mean a game in the series gets a free pass. If that was the case, Skyward Sword and Final Fantasy XIII, even though they are good in their own way, can't be judged. I was excited when I first got this. It was like Christmas, buying a game based on one of my favorite TV shows. But is it good? I mean, let's look at the reviews. I'm sure they're great. Oh well. I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Right? The story of Star Command's TV show was great. It was simple as defeating bad guys, but the characters, the plot, and the setting all made for a menagerie of epic enormity. But the game has none of this. Yeah, a game should not be compared to a TV show because story doesn't matter as much as gameplay in video games, but it was made because of the TV show. It has characters from the TV show, settings from the TV show, and even uses clips from the TV show. But it just doesn't work. You play as Buzz Lightyear, whose mission is to take down evil Emperor Zurg. We have to race a number of enemies for some reason to defeat Zurg's minions. All of this is told to us by our good old pal Zeb Nebula, our friendly neighborhood, almost insane but always shouting guy.
Now Buzz, your mission in each level is to arrest the bad guy. Simple enough, right?
Yeah, you know what, I think
Wrong! So. You can't arrest the bad guys until you reach their getaway spot. Track them to the getaway spot and stop them. If the bad guys get to their getaway spot before you, you only have 15 seconds to catch up with them. Otherwise, you lose, Ranger. If you get to the getaway spot before the criminals, Mira will be there to reward your efforts. Okay, Buzz, you start with a standard issue laser. Any add-ons are gonna cost you some...
Look, I know it's not the end of the world having a little story, but it would be nice knowing a little more. I mean, they use the scenes from the show, but they don't even actually relate to the game. I mean, look, we're here, and now we're here. And Buzz has a turtleneck. Nice style though, Buzz. It's a good turtleneck. Love the fashion. It would be like beating Brock in Pokemon Yellow when this happened.
Ash, you forgot this.
A badge for defeating a gym trainer? I can't accept that. I didn't beat you.
Actually, that would be kind of cool. but only because it actually relates to the actual scene. Racing games of the time were already revolutionary, but we're not going to compare Buzz Lightyear to them. Instead, we're going to talk about it with its own life. What it does, how it plays, and I have to say, there is no racing game like this. Because it's an action game and also a racing game, you move with the fuck you pad, and that moves Buzz forward and to the side. This makes Buzz run, jog, walk, briskly walk. But you can shoot, jump, and he uses power-ups and vehicles. Isn't that awesome? You get to use the bike, the hoverboard, and the goddamn wings. It's kind of awesome, I guess. It would be really cool if it wasn't for the bad controls. Moving Buzz is a chore. Buzz himself is the toughest of tough enemies to himself. Trying to collect different items is just not accurate at all. The enemies in the game constantly stun lock you, impeding your progress in the race. Can you imagine racing in real life and somebody slapping you every 5 seconds? It's kinda like that, I think. The terrain and actual levels can be really annoying. Like the snow level where you slide and slide till you fall into a chasm, or when you get stuck on a fence. And the leader of Team LightYear can't make it past a goddamn fence.
Ah, the fence. Man's natural enemy. Name one thing the fence has done other than stop us from walk racing. One thing. You can't, can ya?
The main word I would use in all this is just inaccuracy. Plain inaccuracy. The game centers around racing enemies to unlock levels and eventually getting to Emperor Zurg. This involves moving from one end of the map to another, picking up items and killing enemies while trying to win a race. During the race, you can gain help from Booster, and if you beat the enemy in the race, you'll get help from Mira. Oh, what is that? That's not Mira.
Is she gone?
Along with the main mission, you also have to do time attacks and collection missions, where you find XR's parts. I actually like these parts of the game sometimes, although the major problems still plague it. I am more racing against time and not a floating enemy, which is kinda nice. But the problem is you have to collect medals to beat the game, and you can't get them all by doing the story mission. So you have to do extra stuff. It just feels like needless padding having to do the time attacks in the XR missions. Riding on a bike or a hoverboard also makes racing more bearable, until you have to collect fuel. Then it goes back to being really fucking inaccurate.
I mean, it's not the worst game in terms of gameplay, but I feel like it's a game that had a lot of potential that just falls off at certain points. Like, it has such good vehicles and such good power-ups. It could have just done that for the rest of the game. But it didn't.
Miss Elizabeth.
Hello! Oh, this is wonderful! Oh, come dance with me, Mr. Twin.
I don't dance. Come on, let's go.
Why? What could be better than this?
Here's where things get a little bit brighter. The scenery of the game actually does a good job capturing the overall style of the TV show. The colors are vibrant and the design of the areas is overall pretty good. The character models, however, are just bad. Nice big head you got there. Reminds you of somebody. Oh yeah, it was you. Because you got a big head. That's a big head. Big head? These character models, even for the PlayStation 1, don't do the actual villains justice. I mean, look at my favorite villain, Nosferatu. Just fucking look! The voice acting is ripped straight from the show at some point, so it's good in that sense, but I also genuinely think the voice of Zeb Nebula does a fantastic job of recreating his voice and personality. But the voice of Zurg? I think we're gonna talk about that more later. What can one say about the boss battles in this game? To fight the boss battles, you need to race them to get to their getaway point. And that's where you have an epic encounter. Just look at this. They're just a mess. They require no skill, only luck. Yeah, you have to change your gun power each phase of the battle, but the phase lasts like 10 seconds. It's cool seeing different enemies from the TV show up here, but that joy gets deflated when you beat them in 20 seconds. I don't know, it might be unfair to say because of all the time I put into the actual show, but this just doesn't work for me. Again, the idea is great, but the execution is just kinda bad. Some of these boss battles should last like 5 minutes depending on the actual character. Oh look, it's Dark Matter. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, you're going? Okay, bye bye, maybe next time we will have an epic battle, I don't know, if you want to. Nosferatu! Let's have an epic encounter, come on, let's do it! Oh, okay, you're gone. That's fine, I guess. You ready, Gravatina? I'm so excited to fight you. You're one of my favorite villains. And okay. Stop it, game. Just stop it. It's very bold. As I've said before, you need to defeat Zurg's minions in order to collect medals and... half medals? To get to fight Zurg. Zurg's missions themselves really don't differ greatly to the rest of the game. You run through these areas jumping from place to place while racing Zurg. It's just the same. Once you reach Zurg, you do the same thing as always and attempt to defeat him. Once you do that, you will again have to fight him in his throne room. This fight isn't very hard, it's just really long. But again, it doesn't differ from the rest of the game.
Hey! Sorry? Hey! What? Hey! Pardon me? Hey! Okay, Zurg, you sound like you have a cold.
And Zurg is defeated. So after all that, we must be treated to an epic ending, right?
Shields at full! Triangulate lasers and fire!
The missile! It is evading our lasers!
But how could it know our targeting system?
It has passed through the shields!
Where's that missile headed?
The refuse hatch.
Great guns! Fellas, we're done for.
To infinity and beyond!
Wait, for this whole game, was I stopping a missile? Was that the point of the game? When did it ever show a missile in the game? I don't know what's happening. I do not know what's happening.
Buzz Lightyear Star Command is one of those games that just feels rushed, which is not uncommon for the time that it was created. A lot of the game's flaws were just frustrating and irritating, not so pronounced that I would stop playing, but they were just bad. The strengths of the game appear and disappear as soon as something stunlocks me, or gets in my face. This could have been a fantastic game, with a concept that is actually so good. Racing in the Star Command world? I would have loved that if it was done right. I love the time attack vehicles, but I strongly dislike the combat and the running. I'm not mad at this game. I'm just disappointed. If you don't have a story, don't shoehorn it in. It's just really silly. Focus on what your strengths are, and you might be able to make a good game.
And after all of that, I'm going to give Buzz Lightyear of Star Command a 45% on the nostalgia scale. It has so many good parts to it. It just so happens that the flaws just outweigh everything and make you forget the good parts. Guys, my name is Calvin, this is the Calvicade. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.